ತಿರುಳುಗೆ ಆದ ಕಾದತಕ ವಶಾಗೆ ಮಾಮಾ ಹೌಲಾ ಸೀದಾ ಗುಳುಂ ಹುರಿ ಪಲಿತ ಮಿಗುತುಂ ಕೇಂ ಬೊಯ್ಮುಗೆ ನುರಂಗಳು ಆದತಕ ಹೆಲಿಫೆಲಿವೆಗಳು ಮದೂಮಾ ದುಂಫತ್ ಕೇಸ್ತಿಮಾಲ್ ಕುರುಂ ಅದಿ ರಾಬುಯಂ ಫದ ಆದ ಕಾದತಂ ಹಿಮೆನೆ
The ceremonial welcome during the ongoing official visit to Singapore. Maldives signed 3 bilateral agreements with Singapore to further enhance cooperation between the two countries in key areas. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Minha Maroof. President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu and First Lady Sajida Mohamad received the ceremonial welcome during the ongoing official visit to Singapore. Singapore President Tharman Shanmugaratnam officially welcomed his Maldivian counterpart during a ceremony held at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Singapore.
The Singaporean military played the national anthems of both countries during the event. Afterwards, President Dr. Muizz and President Shanmugaratnam inspected the Guard of Honor. During the ceremony, President Dr. Muizz was greeted by and introduced to dignitaries from Singapore, followed by the introduction of Maldivian dignitaries to President Shanmugaratnam. The presidents then posed for a commemorative photo, following which President Dr. Muizz signed the visitor's book at the ministry. President Dr. Muizz is undertaking this state visit to Singapore from the 30th of June to the 2nd of July at the invitation of President Shanmugaratnam. This marks President Muizz's first official visit to Singapore since assuming office and coincides with the 50th anniversary of diplomatic ties between the two nations. Diplomatic relations were established on the 20th of February 1975. According to the President's office, President Dr. Muizz is scheduled to meet with the leadership of Singapore and engage in discussions to expand the existing levels of cooperation in myriad areas including trade, urban planning, capacity building, exchange of technical expertise, and multilateral affairs. A number of memoranda of understanding will be concluded during the visit. The President will also attend a business forum and is scheduled to meet with Maldivians residing in Singapore.
President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu and Singaporean President Tharman Shanmugaratnam reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening bilateral ties with a focus on cooperation in areas such as education, renewable energy, and economic diversification. The pledge was made during a courtesy call by President Muizzu held as a part of his ongoing state visit to Singapore. The call commenced with President Shanmugaratnam expressing his pleasure and appreciation for President Dr. Muizzu undertaking the ongoing state visit, coinciding with the Golden Jubilee of diplomatic relations between the two nations. President Dr. Muizzu, in turn, conveyed his gratitude to President Shanmugaratnam and the government of Singapore for the warm welcome and generous hospitality extended during his visit. During the call, the two leaders reflected on the 50 years of diplomatic relations between the Maldives and Singapore, affirming their commitment to further strengthening bilateral cooperation. They highlighted the enduring people-to-people ties and discussed avenues to revitalize mutually beneficial initiatives in areas such as training and education, sustainable energy production from renewable sources, and infrastructure development. The discussion also touched on enhancing the fisheries sector in the Maldives and pursuing efforts to diversify the economy beyond traditional tourism. Following the call, President Dr. Muizzu presented President Shanmugaratnam with the commemorative book chronicling the milestones in the Maldives-Singapore relations over the past 5 decades since the formal establishment of diplomatic ties on 20th February 1975. President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu expresses strong confidence that recent discussions with the government of Singapore, culminating in the signing of several agreements, would strengthen bilateral relations and yield meaningful results from both countries. During his ongoing official visit to Singapore, President Muizu met with President Tharman Shanmugaratnam and Prime Minister Lawrence Wong. The meetings, characterized by high-level engagement, provided an opportunity to review areas of existing cooperation and identify new prospects for collaboration. The diplomatic reflection coincided with Singapore's renewed commitment to supporting the Maldives in human capacity development. President Muizu affirmed that assistance would include study visits, higher education opportunities, and vocational training programs. The DELIB also outlined provisions for environmental cooperation, with both governments underscoring a shared commitment to sustainability initiatives. The emphasis of the agreements on capacity building, education, and environmental sustainability aligns with the administration's broader development priorities, reinforcing its intent to draw on Singapore's institutional strengths. Maldives signed 3 bilateral agreements with Singapore to further enhance cooperation between the two countries in key areas. The 3 Memorandum of Understandings (MOUs) were signed during President Dr. Mohamed Muizu's ongoing official visit to Singapore.
President Dr. Muiz, alongside the Prime Minister of Singapore, Lawrence Wong, had witnessed the signing of the MOUs during a ceremony held at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Singapore. The agreements between Maldives and Singapore include capacity building, education, and environment. The first agreement was signed in the area of capacity building. The agreement was signed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Abdullah Khalil, on behalf of Maldives, while his Singaporean counterpart, Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan, signed on behalf of the Government of Singapore. The second agreement was signed on cooperation in sustainability and the environment. The Singapore government was represented by its Minister for Sustainability and the Environment and Minister in charge of Trade Relations, Grace Fu. The third and final agreement was signed in the facilitation of higher education opportunities. The agreement with the Institute of Technical Education of Singapore was signed by the Minister of Higher Education, Labour and Skills Development, Dr. Ali Haider Ahmed, on behalf of the Maldives government. Deputy Chief Executive Officer Gong Mong Song signed the agreement on behalf of ITE Education. President Dr. Muiz and First Lady Sajida Mohammed are currently in Singapore for a state visit from the 29th of June to the 2nd of July. During the visit, the President will also attend a business forum and is scheduled to meet with Maldivians residing in Singapore. This year marks the golden jubilee of formal diplomatic relations between the Maldives and Singapore. Diplomatic relations were established on the 20th of February 1975.
The government proposes several amendments to the Judiciary Act aimed at further strengthening judicial administration in the country. The proposed amendments, moved by ruling party lawmaker Saudullah Hilmi, refines the code of conduct for judges to ensure the independence and credibility of the judiciary. The bill further details procedures on conducting performance reviews of judges and filing financial statements for more transparency. The bill also refines procedures for transferring judges to other courts and for temporarily assigning the functions of another court. According to the amendment proposed by the government, judges can no longer be involved in any businesses, have any direct or indirect financial interest in the purchase, lease, or business transaction. Judges will also be mandated to notify the Chief Judge and the Judicial Service Commission (JSC) of cases exceeding 12 months without a verdict. Currently, the law requires only the Chief Judge of the court to be notified within 6 months. According to the Judiciary Act, each judge is required to submit financial statements to the JSC once every 12 months. However, the proposed amendment requires judges to submit a financial statement of their assets within 3 months of taking office. The amendment also requires the submission of the previous year's statement within the first 3 months of each year. In addition, if judges resign, they will be required to submit financial statements within 3 months of their resignation. The proposed amendment also mandates judges to file financial statements of immediate family, including spouses, dependent children, and other direct dependents. The Parliament votes to accept the government proposed amendments to the Thalassemia Control Act designed to further streamline services and thalassemia prevention in the country.
Sitting on June 30th, the bill was accepted with 49 lawmakers voting in favor before it was forwarded to the Parliament's Social Committee for review. The proposed amendment is designed to review the criteria of the post of Director General of Thalassemia and Hemoglobinopathies Center and to legally define the responsibilities and duties of the post. The amendment also specifies the regulations for marriage of people who are likely to bear children with thalassemia. According to the proposed amendment to the Thalassemia Control Act, the post of Director General of Thalassemia Center will be a civil service post. The appointment will be made by the Civil Service Commission on the recommendation of the minister. The candidates are required to have at least a National Qualifications Framework Level 8 or 9 qualification in management and 10 years of work experience in the health sector. The DG of the Thalassemia Center can be appointed for a term of 5 years, and the criteria for the post are also detailed in the proposed amendment to the law. The government has added a provision to the Act on Marriage of Thalassemia Carriers who are likely to bear children with thalassemia. Currently, the law does not have a specific provision on such marriages but carries a clause on voluntary testing for thalassemia. The newly proposed provision states that couples must submit their thalassemia test results when seeking a marriage license, are considered to have children despite the risk of passing the thalassemia of a regulation made under the law. The new regulations will be formulated and made within 30 days of the amendment coming into effect.
And to equitable, inclusive healthcare for all.
The National Migrant Health Policy is designed to ensure the health of migrants living in the Maldives and to facilitate equitable access to health services. The main objective of this policy is to protect and ensure the right to basic health care for foreigners. The policy was officially launched by the Minister of Health, Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim, during a special ceremony held in the capital, Male. Speaking during the ceremony, the Director General of the Health Protection Agency, or HPA, Maimuna Abu Bakr, said this initiative reflects the government's efforts to eliminate discrimination, improve service delivery, and ensure the health of everyone living in the country. According to Maimuna, the policy is based on research, consultations with international stakeholders, and national health priorities. She said the cooperation and assistance of all relevant agencies will be required to implement this policy. Speaking at the ceremony, International Organization for Migration, or IOM Regional Director for Asia, Kato Lori, said the launch of the policy on the health of migrants signals the government's intent to strengthen the healthcare system in the Maldives. The national policy on the health of foreigners is focused on 5 main areas: changing perceptions across government and society as a whole, provide quality health services to foreigners, collect and use valid information, reduce vulnerabilities, and establishment of systems. The Ministry of Health said that with the implementation of the policy, the rights of migrants to basic health care will be fully protected and ensured along with equitable and inclusive health care for all.
Minister of Health Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim says the National Migrant Health Policy will help build an inclusive, fair and compassionate health system. Speaking during the ceremony to launch the National Migrant Health Policy, Minister Nazim noted that every sector, every citizen with migrants being no exception, has a role to play. The National Migrant Health Policy, according to the minister, reaffirms Maldives' commitment to equitable, inclusive healthcare for all. Our foreign workforce are not just workers, they are our caregivers, our neighbors, and our friends. Their safety and dignity are not optional. Ensuring equitable healthcare for all is not just a goal, it's our responsibility. According to the Ministry of Higher Education, Labor and Skills Development, 43% of Maldives' workforce are foreigners. A special center and portal have been launched to provide assistance to a large foreign expat population in the Maldives, aimed at ensuring the health and well-being of foreign workers and to address their challenges. The government is planning a wide array of festive activities for a grand celebration of Maldives' 60th anniversary of independence next month, the Ministry of Divehi Language, Culture and Heritage has said. Speaking to PSM News, the ministry's Director General Atika Ibrahim, has said the government has a wide array of colorful activities and exciting events spread over 3 days.
The Independence Day official reception will be held on the 27th July at 9 a.m. A parade and a route march will be held at 4:15 p.m. In the evening, there will be a fireworks display in the reclaimed suburb Hurumale. On the morning of 28th July, the National Award for Public Service ceremony will be held, followed by a parade and route march in Hurumale later in the evening. In addition to the official activities, there will be a photography competition open to the public and an essay writing and drawing competition for school children, Atika said, adding that the ministry is also in talks with the National Center for the Arts (NCA) to hold a film festival. The official logo for the Maldives' 60th Independence Day has been unveiled, selected from over 30 submissions. Independence Day, celebrated annually on July 26th, marks the day in 1965 when the Maldives gained independence from British colonial rule, which had begun in 1887. Last year, the government had avoided a grand celebration by scrapping the Independence Day float procession and other festivities as part of the austerity measures taken to cut down on government expenditure. Civil Aviation Authority (CAA) says the new passenger terminal at Valana International Airport (VIA) is a complete facility that meets international standards and requirements.
In preparation for the July 26th opening of the new terminal, Maldives Airports Company Limited, or MACL, is conducting special tours for relevant stakeholders of the new facility. These are required tours as part of the operational readiness, activation and transition, or ORAT process leading up to the opening of the new terminal. As part of the process, a team from the CAA was shown around the new terminal on Sunday with the ORAT team answering questions from the visiting CAA officials. After the tour, CAA Air Transport Director Abdullah Rashid said that the new terminal is in line with international standards, adding that the new facility will prove to be a major convenience to tourists coming to the Maldives. ORAT is a comprehensive methodology used in the aviation industry, particularly for airports, to ensure a smooth transition from construction phase to full operational status. ORAT helps mitigate risks associated with opening new or redeveloped facilities by thoroughly preparing all aspects of airport operations, including infrastructure, systems, and personnel. The terminal, scheduled to open in conjunction with Independence Day celebrations, is envisioned as a modern high-capacity hub. Staff training and operational preparedness continue apace, forming central pillars of MACL's final phase rollout. The new facility will span 78,000 square meters and is designed to handle up to 7 million passengers each year, representing a substantial increase from the current terminal's annual capacity of 1.5 million. The terminal will have 47 check-in counters designed with locally inspired designs, 6 self-service kiosks, and 24 counters dedicated for seaplane passengers. MACL will initially allocate the new passenger terminal to National Airline Maldivians international passengers.
European shares nudges higher as investors track signs of progress on trade talks ahead of the July 9th deadline for lifting the pause on U.S. President Donald Trump's reciprocal tariffs.
The Pan-European STOXX 600 index advanced 0.2% at 544.47 points as of 7:14 GMT, but was on track to log a monthly fall. Other major regional indexes also traded higher. Market optimism over U.S. trade deals got a boost last week on easing U.S.-China trade tensions. Canada on Sunday said it had rescinded its digital services tax to restart stalled talks with the U.S., further lifting sentiment. Meanwhile, the British government said on Monday the trade deal that reduced U.S. tariffs on UK cars and aircraft parts has come into effect. However, the issue of steel and aluminium tariffs remains unresolved.
Turkish authorities were working to contain wildfires in the Aegean coastal province of Izmir on Monday, June 30th, as around 20 houses in the area were engulfed in flames, according to the Izmir municipality.
Firefighters doused the flames from the ground while helicopters and planes dropped water on the wildfire from air. Forestry Minister Ibrahim Yumakli said 4 villages and 2 neighborhoods had been evacuated. Izmir Mayor Samuel Tugay said strong winds had caused the fire to spread. HGE added that the fire in residential areas had been mostly contained. The Forestry General Directorate said 4 planes, 14 helicopters and 106 fire trucks had been deployed to contain the wildfire affecting Izmir's Menderes and Seferihisar areas.
Paris Saint-Germain manager Luis Enrique says his team were making history after they brushed aside Inter Miami 4-0 in the Club World Cup last 16.
The French side, who have already won their domestic league, the French Cup and the Champions League, are edging closer to completing a perfect season by lifting the Club World Cup. The reunion with ex-Barcelona players Lionel Messi and Miami coach Javier Mascherano, both central figures during Luis Enrique's Camp Nou tenure between 2014 and 2017, added emotional weight to what was otherwise a clinical dismantling of the MLS side. Flamengo or Bayern Munich await PSG in the quarters.
With temperatures and humidity levels rising across the Gulf, Qatar residents are turning to air-conditioned outdoor areas, beaches and indoor malls.
Public spaces such as Doha's Corniche Promenade were largely empty, with benches, play areas and walking paths unused. But beaches like Lake Tafia still drew visitors, some cooling off in the sea before the most oppressive summer conditions take hold. At the Guban Island, which partially opened late last year, families strolled through a shaded, cooled outdoor zone equipped with greenery and fountains. While Qatar's meteorology department says current temperatures remain typical for the region, high humidity has pushed up the heat index, making conditions feel more extreme.
And that's all we have for now. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a pleasant day ahead.